So we have a body weight workout here. So we're starting off with some gentle mobility. This is cat stretch. So in a 4-point kneeling stance, you arch your back and look down as you exhale. Make sure you hollow your tummy as you breathe out. Then you inhale and you push your bum back and lift your head up. So you're going from flexion to extension of the mid-spine. The main area you will feel this will be your mid and upper back, and the backs of your shoulders. So nice deep breaths as you're doing this. Then we do thread the needle, so we're adding some thoracic rotation, rotating the mid-spine. Just slide your hand along the floor, stretching those fingers as far away from you as you possibly can, really aiming to get that rotation through the mid-spine. Exhale as you go into it, and then you can start to bend that supporting elbow a little bit more, get a little bit more range of motion out of this rotation. There we go, so nice and deep. Getting that opposite shoulder all the way down to the floor now. Then we come up into a half kneeling position. Make sure that that back foot is in line with the toe, that your tailbone is tucked under. There's a little bit of tension in your bum and in your abdomen. Rest your hands on your knee. Keep that front foot flat, and then drive the knee over the second toe. So you're just rocking backwards and forwards, you're stretching out. So here I have my left foot forward, so the stretch is in the front of the right hip. Make sure you're keeping a little bit of tension in the glutes as you do it. You can see this from the other side now. So that front knee stays in line with the second toe, so you're getting a stretch through the back of the ankle as well as through the front of the left hip in this one. Again, making sure that that left foot is in line with the left knee. Notice how the torso doesn't move, so we're not trying to get extension of the lower back here. We're trying to keep the torso rigid and just stretch out those hip flexors and the plantar flexors of that front foot. Now we're coming down into a deep squat position. Toes turned out, press your elbows into the insides of your knees, lift your chest up, get a little bit of rotation, and then we start to do the overhead reaches. So inhale as you reach back with the arm, following your hand with your eyes. So you're stretching out the hips and the adductors here, but you're also stretching out the mid-spine. You may feel a few cracks and pops through the spine as you're doing this, and that's absolutely fine. Obviously your mobility will be the limiting factor there, so work on that. And then we just do a little full body hip flexor stretch after that one, just to open up the hips a little bit more after being in that deep squat position. Again, keeping the tailbone tucked to emphasise the stretch through the hips and the abdomen. Now I'm doing strike, alternating that leg action, so stepping away from the stretching leg, pushing the hips back as if you're trying to shut the door with your arse. So you step back, weight onto the back foot, front leg stays straight, you lift the toes up towards you, you feel a stretch through the back of the leg, from your bum down towards the back of your knee. Keep your shoulders back and down, keep your chest proud and your chin tucked in so that you're maintaining neutral spine. The idea here is to hinge the hips, not flex the spine. Now I'm doing curtsy. Alternating action, that back leg comes back and across, using the arms as drivers to emphasise that rotation. Start off slowly, make sure you're maintaining balance, don't go too quickly. Make sure you stand tall in between each rep. And then you can start to gradually increase that range of motion, get a little bit further across, a little bit deeper down into it. You can see I have slightly different range of motion on each side there. That's natural and normal. Your body isn't symmetrical, so your hips will move differently from one side to the next. Now I'm doing some pause squats. Keep the knees in line with the toes as you do this. Bit of tension in the abdomen. Lower down to about parallel, and then just hold it for about 3 to 5 seconds at the bottom. And to be honest, I'm not counting reps on any of these exercises. Most of the exercises, it's somewhere between 5 and 10 reps. You could of course do more. You could do each one to failure if you like, or you could do 5 reps, or 8 reps, or 10 reps, or 20 reps of each exercise. You could do multiple rounds of this if you want. I'm only doing 1 round here for the purpose of this demonstration. That's a good 10 minutes of work. So after the pause squat, I'm going to a split stance, and I'm doing a standing split squat. So make sure that your feet are about hip to shoulder width apart when you do this. Take a long stride back, squeeze your bum and brace your abs for balance, and then you just lower yourself down as if you're coming down onto one knee, except your back knee doesn't touch the floor. And again, that front knee stays in line with the second toe. Let the knee move over the toes. You lower that back leg down, keeping the tailbone slightly tucked. Keeping an upright posture so you get a little bit more activation through the quads with the upright posture. And then going down to the floor here, I'm going to do a standard press up. Elbows are about 45 degrees, shoulders back and down, tension in the abs, tension in the bum. Get the chin tucked in so your eyes are looking down at the floor, lower yourself down, and then press from your armpits on the way up. I'm pausing on the last one there to get a little bit of extra time under tension through the target muscles. And then moving on to the back, I'm going to do a core stiffness exercise here. This one is for targeting the glutes, so it's a single leg hip thrust or single leg bridge. Notice how I keep my toes elevated. That helps to create extra engagement through the glutes and switch the hamstrings off. So you're driving with the bum, lifting up to a neutral position. Really squeeze the bum at the top, lower down, but don't rest your weight on the floor. Keep tension through the back of the hips, through the whole range of reps here. So again, about 10 reps on each side, but you could do more if you wanted. And now back to press up, this time with a wide hand placement, so hands wider than the shoulders. This is harder, you'll get a little bit more activation through the upper back as well as through the pecs on this one. And again, pause at the bottom of each one just for a second or so. Keep that core and bum nice and tight to provide the stability that you need. And as before, a longer pause on the final rep to get that tension into the target muscles. And turn it back over into that supine position again. Another core exercise. This one is dead bug. So keep the spine neutral. Lift the legs up into that tabletop position so the shins are parallel to the floor. You extend one leg forward, the opposite arm back. Press your spine into the floor. Brace everything hard. So I'm making fists here. So squeeze your fists, squeeze your abs, squeeze your bum. Tension everywhere. That extended leg, imagine that you're pushing your foot into the wall. You want tension everywhere, but you want to maintain that neutral spine. So really pressing your spine down to flatten it, and you'll get extra activation through the core. As you squeeze, breathe out slowly through your lips. And really brace the abs hard. And then turning over, doing a narrow stance press up now. This is a diamond press up. And the hands on top of each other, or almost on top of each other. But you do it with a close grip, the elbows still at around a 45-degree angle, still pressing from the armpits, but this isolates the back of the arms a lot more. It's much harder. And again, a long pause on the final one before we press up. Just taking a little breather there, a couple of seconds just to catch my breath. And then we're going to do some plyometrics. This is a plyometric lunge, or plyometric jumping as it's sometimes known. Just switching from one leg to the next, going down into that lunge position. This is the harder version. You can of course do a little hop in between each one where you bring your feet back together before jumping back into the split stance. And now mountain climbers. So in that full plank position, hands on the floor, bringing the knees up towards your chest. Do about 10 of these on each side. Again, as I say, you could do more if you really want to. You could do a minute on each exercise, you could do a certain amount of reps on each exercise, or you could just set some reps and do it as a circuit and then do 2 or 3 if you like. And then this is a rotational mountain climber, so bringing the knee across to the opposite side. Don't do this one too quickly, keep it under control so that you're working your core as you do this. Still gets the heart rate up, we're getting a bit of rotation and working the obliques here. So the obliques are the muscles down the side of your torso, by the side of your abs. They help to generate rotation as well as resist rotation. And then we finish off with a side plank here. So I'm holding each one for 10 seconds, keeping everything nice and tight. Roll over onto the other side, pat the lats down, brace the abs, exhale, count down from 10 in your head. And then again, so just rotating carefully, trying not to twist the back as you rotate. 10 seconds on each side. This is the second time around. Third time around. Notice the alignment there. Ankles are stacked, hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Look at the straight line from the head down through the spine, all the way down to my ankles there. And then just finishing off with some stretching. So this is a downward dog version, coming down into that functional crawl position, into a rotation, couple of deep breaths in that position, step back into downward dog, extend that leg up. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. This takes a little bit of practice to get the hip mobility and the control in this position. And again, just rotating and extending that mid-spine, taking some deep breaths, downward dog, and then just sit back on your haunches and just rest, take some deep, slow breaths, wait for your heart rate to slow down. So give that a go, let me know how you get on with it.